So it appears that Everton have got themselves into a bit of a financial conundrum. They need to sell before they can buy. Why? Because their owner is poor? No. Financial fair play has reached its limit with them. They've spent so much over the last few seasons that basically they need to claw things back. They need to spend before they buy. They need to balance the books. They're in a situation which is, funny enough, what I said a little while ago that Newcastle may well find themselves in soon. I'll get to that in just a second. But as a result, to try and recoup some money, it looks like they have officially but unofficially put Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up for sale. Now, apparently we're interested in Calvert-Lewin. There's an obvious link there. We've got the ex-Everton link with David Moyes. Not that David Moyes ever coached Calvert-Lewin, but clearly still knows people at the club who would have spoken highly of him. He's a player apparently we're interested in. I've not heard any interest about Richarlison. I'm going to talk about both players a little bit later on in this video about what I think about their prices, what I think their suitability to play for West Ham. Haven't heard any rumours that are interested in Richarlison. If we're not, we should be. We definitely should be interested in that player. In fact, we should be interested in both players, but one more than the other for reasons I'll explain a little bit later. I do find the Everton thing interesting, though, because I know I speak about Newcastle a lot, by the way. I understand that. I'm not trying to wind the Geordies up. Far from it. My nan was a Geordie. My uncle supports Newcastle, for instance, and I've still got family that live up there. But it's obviously ever since I did the initial Newcastle video about Staveley attaching herself to various bids until she found a successful one. They've obviously been at the forefront of my mind. They've been on the tip of my tongue quite a lot. And whenever I speak about Newcastle, particularly since the takeover has gone through, people will always say, there's always a comment under there, what you must realise is that Newcastle are the richest club in the world now. People use that. Very rarely does anybody answer the question which I'm asking. They just come back. It's a sort of stock cut and paste answer, but it's not really the question I'm asking. Now, I don't disagree. By the way, this ties into Everton. It's tenuous, but it does tie into Everton and where Everton are now. I don't disagree that the Saudi investment fund has lots and lots of money. What I wonder is how much of that is going to be attributed to football. Here's why. It's a question I'd like to answer. If they've got unlimited money, why? And there were two reasons why that bid took over a year to go through. And that one of them was because for piracy issues, not like, Jim lad, not those sort of pirates. I'm talking about the illegal streaming of Premier League games. The people that wanted to take control of Newcastle needed to reach an accord with the Premier League. Otherwise, they weren't ever going to rubber stamp that deal, regardless of whether you think the deal should have been rubber stamped. Anyway, the other reason was there was haggling going on. Mike Ashley wanted 300 million, they were offering 280. Okay, that's a weird one for me. If we're being told that they are the richest folk in football, 20 million, are you sure? Why were they haggling over that? So that's my first thing that I would like somebody to come back with something other than, you've got to realise that Newcastle are the richest club in football. The other thing is their chief executive, Amanda Staveley, on camera very recently when she was saying how much she felt sorry for Roman Abramovich, she also said, we had a look at Chelsea. We looked at all the clubs, but we decided not to buy Chelsea. We decided to buy Newcastle instead. Didn't believe a word of it. Because why would you? I mean, honestly, why would you? If what we're thinking is we have a load of investors who are just doing this because they want let's call it, this is how they're going to look at it, a sports franchise, a sports brand, why not go and buy Chelsea? They probably weren't available then, they are now. But I tell you who was available then, Fenway Group own Liverpool. They were available. Go and buy, bid 4.5 billion, you'll get Liverpool. Why not 4.5 billion? Because if you've got 300 billion, what's the problem? Go and buy Manchester United. Manchester United are available. They're officially, unofficially for sale. Malcolm Glazer bought it with his two sons in the wings. Malcolm Glazer's passed away. The sons are running it. It's all leveraged on debt. You go in there with 5 billion, you get Manchester United. You just do. They could go, if they're that rich, they can go and buy Manchester United. They've got the sort of money that would blow those two Glazer boys away. But they didn't do it. They went for Newcastle and haggled over £20 million. That's what I'm saying. If they're that rich, why didn't they do that? Because they really love Newcastle? I mean, Come on. I mean, this is not me. I speak disparagingly of our own stadium sometimes. And I say? I've no idea why a Nesri wouldn't want to come to sunny old Stratford rather than Sevilla. I mean, I'm happy to make the joke at our own expense. But let's not think that the hub of the world in Saudi Arabia is Newcastle. I think there were financial reasons for them buying Newcastle. I really do. And that's why they were haggling over 20 million. Anyway. My point is, they're going to be subject to the same financial restraints that Everton are at the moment, which is you've got to sell before you can buy. Not at the moment. Apparently, something like you're allowed to lose about 120 million each over 3 seasons in financial fair play. Newcastle can lose a little bit more than that. And they're not going to like this, not because they got loads of money, but because Mike Ashley was so frugal, so stingy, or just managed the club financially really, really well. So they could probably lose about 200 million. But when it gets to that point, they can't spend 2 billion on players, 200 million. And here's my point. At some point, they're going to get to a point where they have to stop money. Basically, they got 200 million to get into the Champions League, so as they can get into the Champions League and get all that good stuff, like the Champions League income, they can get the additional TV revenue, good sponsorship deals. And before anyone says it, well, it doesn't matter. Saudi Arabia can just sponsor Newcastle. They can't. Manchester City tried that, and they got their knuckles wrapped for it. You're not allowed to do that. You have to generate official bona fide income. That's why it's advantageous to go and buy one of the big clubs, because they already have all that income coming. That's why Chelsea will be a really good club to buy, because they have the Champions League revenue stream. They already own loads of players. There's loads of assets, loads of players on loan, a thriving academy. It's already there. And this is where Everton find themselves in. Okay, because they've wasted money. They've wasted money on Balassi. They've wasted money on Iwobi. They've wasted money on a lot. There's loads and loads of them. Sigurdsson. We can go through them in the same way that Newcastle, I think, have just wasted money on Chris Wood, for instance. That's if they've got over the next 3 years 200 million that they can spend and 200 million loss. Well, that's already 10% of that on a player that's probably not going to be featuring over the next few years if they get to where they want to go. And here's where Everton are, so having to recoup because of terrible, terrible spending, even though they've got a rich owner there. He's literally having to sit on his hands, having to keep his wallet in his pocket. So they want to get rid of Everton, and they want to get rid of Calvert-Lewin, and they want to get rid of Richarlison. Well, look, Calvert-Lewin is a good player. I'm not sure in terms of style, he's what we need. I think he's excellent in the air. He's one of the very best in the air. I'd say that. How many times do you look at West Ham recently and think, wish we crossed it more? We don't cross it enough. It's a weird one from David Moyes. Far be it from me to criticise David Moyes. I love what he's doing at West Ham. When he was at Manchester United, still the record for the most crosses held in a Premier League game was when David Moyes was at Manchester United. You used to hear it all the time. All he wants to do is cross the ball. Well, not anymore, he doesn't. He does something differently now. If we were playing that style where crosses were coming to the box all the time, Calvert-Lewin would be just the man for the job. We don't. Also, I look at Calvert-Lewin and I look at his record, and it's 40-odd goals in 150 games. Let's be generous. Let's round it up. Let's call it 1 in 3. I think he scored 4 goals for England as well in 11 or 12 appearances, something like that. It's good. He's clearly a goal scorer, but it's not prolific. I'll give you an example of somebody else we're interested in at the moment. Darwin Núñez, Benfica, Uruguay striker. Last time I saw the figures, 26 goals, something like that, in 32 games. I mean, it's a lot better. The ratio is an awful lot better. Also got to take into account his injury record, which ain't great. I think when you take into account the position that Everton are in, which is basically not in a position of strength, due to financial fair play, the whole world knows they've got to sell before they can buy. Due to his injury record, due to the fact that I wouldn't call him prolific. I think for Everton to be asking 65, 70 million, I mean, whoa, hold on. So I think that really we have to factor that in. And I know, obviously, I read a lot of the comments from yesterday's video, how we went in with a low ball offer for Rafinha. Maybe we did go in too low. I'll tell you what, don't think Calvin. I think we'd be mad to go in and think Calvin Phillips. There we go and get him. Let's just pay what the club are asking. No, don't. I would go and try and play hardball on this one if we want him, because for all the 3 reasons I've just given, I just don't think he's worth I don't think he's in the £60 million bracket. I really don't, but I do like him as a player, and his attitude and his character is second to none. Every time I heard him interviewed, particularly when he broke into the England team, I was so impressed. Really bright, really intelligent. Clearly would pass the David Moyes character MOT, no doubt about that. I am just not yet convinced whether he's a one-season wonder or not. Okay, that's just what I think on that one. I hope he's not, and I suspect he's not. But we need to be a little bit more cautious. Somebody that's definitely not a one-season wonder, and somebody that certainly Gio wanted to sign when he was at Watford for West Ham, is Richarlison. Now, Richarlison, as I said at the start of the video, if we're not in for him, we certainly should be. Because he's exactly the type of striker that David Moyes likes. Which type of striker is that? Well, it's a winger. So, he's got flexibility. Clearly, he can play up front. We've all seen that. He pulls wide, which David Moyes likes. There's no point pretending that we like this central striker. We're going to use him. Sebastian Haller was that guy. Didn't use him. Chicharito was that guy. All right, not dominant in the air. Scored his fair few headers, actually, Chicharito, to be fair. But scored all his goals inside the box. Remember that stat that was doing the rounds? He hadn't scored a goal outside the box or whatever. He ain't interested. David Moyes is not interested. No point bringing a player in David Moyes is not going to utilise. It's not the style we play. We might frustrate us when Antonio pulls wide, but actually look at the setup for Souček's goal against Sevilla. It's the way we play. It's what David Moyes likes. And if that's the type of play we've got, then I suggest we consider seriously Richarlison. And for the same reason I said on Rafinha, what you don't want to do is say, we could be realistic. Let's be realistic. Don't go for him. There's no chance of getting him. There's only so many players in the world that we can say, hold on, don't go for him. Let's be realistic. Why not? Let's be... And it sounds weird because Everton are a big club and historically have been very, very big, but they're not doing so well recently. At the moment, West Ham are a more attractive proposition than Everton. It does sound weird. When I grew up, Everton were our bogey team. Okay, but the likes of Richarlison or Rafinha or whatever don't know about the great Howard Kendall side. They're not looking at it thinking, we'll go to Everton because that Neville Southall, he was really good. No. This is not what happens. People look at it in the now, in the here and the now. It's West Ham who have the higher profile. Is Richarlison going to go play for Barcelona? Probably not. I mean, he might do, probably not, but Rafinha's going there, right? Is he going to go and sign for Liverpool? No. We're exactly the level that he might be looking at, so we should be in for him. I'd probably pay a bit more for Richarlison than I'd pay for Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. But it's interesting. I was hoping we'd been linked to both. I don't know. I mean, he can be a bit of a hothead, can't he, Richarlison? Seen it a few times. Whether that would pass the Moyes MOT, I don't know. But he's clearly, he's been in for one. We know this. He's been in for one Brazilian winger in terms of Rafinha. Why not go for another one? I think he also solves a bit of a position there where I don't think we've got a natural left-sided player who's comfortable, really, really comfortable. I don't think it's Benrahma's best position because for all reasons I've stated before. Certainly don't think it's Fornals' best position, and certainly don't think Vlasic is the answer there either. I think it's you know what? I'd be very, very interested. Hopefully, we're in for both.